now finding out that the Trump legal team apparently had a number of objections to Raymond Dearie, the special master's initial plan for what he was going to do as special master, what the timeline was going to be. What they objected to is interesting, but even more interesting than that is the fact that we were never supposed to find out about these objections. It was made behind closed doors, and the only reason we know about it is because the DOJ effectively hasn't played ball. What they did was they responded to the objections to the court, but they didn't make theirs hidden. And all of the context of what was requested by the Trump team is made clear in the DOJ filings. And I think it's amazing, not only because it's funny and it makes the Trump team look bad, but also it really tells us how much faith the Trump team has in the only plausible defenses in this document scandal. And so this new filing by the DOJ revealed that Trump's lawyers objected to the special master's request that they verify the search inventory filed by the DOJ. So they are told by Dearie, you have to look at this inventory of things that were taken and you have to say if it was accurate or not, okay? They didn't want to do that. That effectively dared Trump's team to assert that the FBI planted evidence. They haven't asserted that, not legally. They've implied it, they've bleated it on Truth Social, they've said it on Newsmax or whatever, but they haven't said it where there are legal consequences if they're lying. So that was, I think, a very reasonable request by Raymond Dearie. They didn't want to do that. Also, Trump's team objected to Dearie's request for them to explain whether they're claiming attorney-client privilege or executive privilege or both or whatever. Aileen Cannon, interestingly, declined to make any sort of distinction between those things, whether they in any way apply to this matter. She punted on it, perhaps, again, understanding how dubious those claims are. So Raymond Dearie is like, well, you guys keep talking about this. Would you like to clarify it? And they had an issue with that. And again, it's not just these issues. We've known that they don't like both those things. It's that they didn't want people to even know that they were complaining about this. That's why they made it hidden. And credit to the DOJ for effectively sort of by proxy leaking that. Now, there was a third objection, okay? And we don't specifically know what that was, but the context of what the DOJ filed implies that it has to do with the general topic of when other materials that are not being declared to be classified should be returned. They apparently didn't like something about that. Now, if I'm being super generous, I could say maybe they want the stuff to be returned sooner and the DOJ is saying we need to hold on to it for longer. I think that would be a justifiable reason to have an objection to that. But it might also be that Raymond Dearie, again, as with the others, he might be saying, I want you to be specific. Don't just say they took stuff. Tell me what it is and why you need it back. And again, it would be requesting them to go on the record. This is speculation on my part, but I think it seems reasonable based on the other actions of the Trump legal team. So those are apparently the three things they had objections to, JR, and they didn't want us to find out about it, which signals to me that they don't think they have a case on any of these matters.
I thought you were gonna say, which signals to me this is all bull, because that's
I'm
what
getting
it
that
is.
signal.
It's the thing. This is like children that are playing, easy bake oven, in the room, and you go, oh look, I can go into the real kitchen and turn on the fire itself. Bro, you're in the real deal now. They think they can take these same childlike toy legal arguments and put it in front of a judge, and they go, well, we're representing Donald Trump like he's like a king of the world. Everyone has to listen to him. So when you're in this diluted point of view, from the judge to his attorneys that keep quitting or not getting paid or get disbarred, all of them have to go through this same childlike approach because they're following a child. If your God is a child, then you're gonna say childlike things. And when adults come in the room and say, this doesn't make any sense, I'm supposed to do my job because my job is not to prop up your legal arguments. They go, what's going on here? This worked in the room on the easy bake oven. How come this stove is hot? Because it's real now. And they realize it once they get burned. But at least once they get near the fire, they're noticing this is getting warm. Let's not really go there because the fire is gonna actually engulf us. But I don't know what the end game is gonna be here. They keep getting pushed back and pushed back. So they're gonna exhaust every opportunity possible. Because again, going back to the original theme of what they're trying to do is delay. But none of these things are working when it comes to actual legal arguments. I can't wait for this next shoe to drop, which I keep seeing headlines about, oh, the Trump legal team is waiting for the next thing to happen. They're worried, they're afraid. They probably are, but they don't really have much of a preparation for it. Maybe they're hiring the next news anchor from some conservative cable network to represent him next. Has anybody seen Rudy Giuliani? Where's Rudy?
Rudy just received news that he has to pay almost $250,000 in back alimony payments to an ex-wife of his. So could you just give him some time, JR? The dude is like frantically cranking out cameos to pay for this.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.